When we talk about World War II, most attention goes to the battles fought in the skies, seas and cities. But what often gets overlooked is the quieter, grimmer struggle faced by those who were captured and sent to prisoner-of-war camps. Inside those barbed wire fences, survival wasn't guaranteed. Starvation, disease and despair threatened men daily. Yet hidden in plain sight, smuggled into camps through clever disguises, were secret survival kits that gave prisoners not just tools and food, but also hope. These kits weren't as glamorous as weapons or tanks, but for those behind enemy lines, they were lifelines. Today we'll uncover what was in these hidden POW kits, how they were used, and why they still matter for survivalists and historians alike. Life inside a POW camp was brutal. Rations were cut so thin that many soldiers lost dangerous amounts of weight. Medical supplies were nearly impossible to come by, and small illnesses could turn deadly. On top of this, many prisoners dreamed of escaping, yet had no maps, no tools, and no way to navigate. For the Allies, this reality sparked a desperate need to get supplies into the camps. The Red Cross provided official packages with food and toiletries, but beyond that, intelligence units found ways to send in covert kits disguised as games, care parcels, or even clothing. These kits weren't just about immediate survival. They were carefully designed to provide the essentials that might keep a soldier alive until liberation or give them a chance at escape. The brilliance of these kits was in their compactness and disguise. Some of the most famous were hidden inside Monopoly board games. At first glance, they looked like ordinary sets meant to entertain prisoners. But tucked beneath the surface were silk maps that could fold into a pocket, tiny compasses hidden inside playing pieces, and even small currency notes of occupied countries. A prisoner who received such a game suddenly had the beginnings of an escape plan in his hands. Other kits were more focused on survival within the camp itself. These included high-calorie chocolate, condensed milk and vitamin tablets to fight off malnutrition. Fishing lines, hooks and sewing needles often made their way in, giving prisoners tools for both food and clothing repair. A simple razor blade could serve dozens of purposes, from shaving to cutting rope or even carving makeshift tools. Soap, iodine tablets and small medical items were just as crucial, helping prisoners fight disease and infection in a place where hospitals were non-existent. Every item was chosen because it could serve more than one purpose, and every gram of weight counted. These weren't just symbolic gestures. Prisoners of war used these items to survive in ways that, honestly, often sound incredible today. In camps like Stalag Luft III, prisoners used silk maps and button-sized compasses from these kits to plan escape routes. Some men tunnelled underground for months, guided only by the contraband maps smuggled into their barracks. Even when escapes failed, those tools gave prisoners hope and something to strive toward, which, was crucial for mental survival. On the day-to-day level, food supplies from kits could mean the difference between life and death. A small tin of chocolate, divided carefully among several men, could carry them through days of starvation-level rations. In Japanese camps, vitamin tablets smuggled in through Red Cross parcels prevented scurvy, which otherwise crippled entire groups. Even sewing needles, overlooked by most, helped prisoners repair torn uniforms or stitch blankets, keeping them warm through brutal winters. Survival in these camps was not about abundance. It was about stretching the smallest tools and scraps as far as possible. prisoners became adept at improvisation. A sewing needle could be reshaped into a lockpick. A razor blade could carve wood for a makeshift handle or cut cloth for bandages. These stories show that survival hinged on resourcefulness as much as on the kits themselves. For those studying survival today, the prisoner of war kits highlight three key lessons. First is the principle of compact and multi-purpose gear. The most useful tools were the smallest ones, things that could be hidden in plain sight, yet serve multiple roles. For anyone building a modern survival kit, this lesson is crucial. Every item should do more than one job. Second is the power of morale. Chocolate in a prisoner of war camp wasn't just food, it was a symbol that someone on the outside still cared, and that was enough to keep men fighting internally even when their bodies were weak. Today, survivalists often overlook morale items, but a little comfort, sugar, tea, or even a keepsake can keep spirits up when everything else is failing. Finally, there's the lesson of concealment and discretion. These kits had to be hidden from guards, or they would have been confiscated instantly. For modern preparedness, the same rule applies. It's not always about having the biggest cache of supplies. It's about having them in a way that others can't easily take from you in a crisis. Most Second World War documentaries focus on battles, generals, and large-scale strategy. Yet the stories of these kits reveal the quieter, smaller-scale fight for survival that happened every day behind the wire. These men weren't armed, but they were still in a war for their lives, and the hidden kits gave them a fighting chance. For historians, they highlight the ingenuity and determination of both the prisoners who used them and the people who risked everything to get them into camps. For survivalists, they are a reminder that resilience often depends on preparation, resourcefulness, and the will to keep going when conditions seem impossible. If you found this deep dive into the hidden prisoner of war kits that saved lives valuable, subscribe to Backyard Wisdom for more forgotten survival history that still carries lessons today. Share this with fellow history buffs and survival enthusiasts, and keep the knowledge alive so these stories are never lost.